Yes, no?
Wait a minute.
Okay. You tell me when.
Okay, I guess we can go now.
Okay. So it's just about 1:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order with the pledge, and then following the
Yeah.
pledge, a moment of silence for those who recently passed: Glenn Burns, Cliff Burleson, David Petrosky, Bud Stoll, who was a former owner, Margaret McGrath, a former owner, and Rosemary Blakemore, a former owner. So if we could all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, could we have a roll call, Steve?
Okay, all present and accounted for, 3 in the clubhouse and with Joni, and 4 on Zoom. All present, all present. I can't see Greg. Is that gonna?
I can see him.
I can see you. I can see Steve loud and clear there, yeah.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got
Do we want to wait for Tricia to sit back down, or
a box on my.
She's a wanderer.
the wanderer? Yeah,
Sorry, I just had to get the,
no problem. So can we have what you can give us for our treasurer's update, Dawn?
Yes, and just to clarify, the qualifying point that Leah just made, we got our financials a little late, and a review of them indicated and generated, I should say, a number of questions, which we have not yet gotten answers to. I just forwarded them actually a few minutes ago to resort management staff. So once they get resolved, we'll look at them again, but they're not official at this point in time. But I can make just a few generic remarks, assuming that most of these entries are valid. Once again, our office expenses are down somewhat. Legal fees, we're looking at legal fees that increased pretty substantially this quarter. As far as the annual goes, so we're still in good shape. We're not under the annual budget, but they were high this month. We're still saving money on some of our utilities, electricity included. And of course, to sound like a broken record, we know we're not servicing the pool, et cetera, and therefore a savings in that regard. We've had a number of issues with the irrigation system. Everyone knows about the pest control too, the tenting of the clubhouse. So that brought those particular areas in maintenance up a little above budget. But again, as far as the annual budget goes, we're not in any kind of difficulty. Quarterly fees are due, of course, on November 1st. So cash flow is looking substantial at this point in time.
Excellent. Anybody have any discussion? No? Okay. Moving on. Joni, your CAM report, Violet, you want to start, whatever you want to start with.
Well, we'll start with violations. I sent that off to everybody on Friday, I believe, so that you had the weekend to peruse it.
Right?
As you can see, there's 2 that are marked in orange. One is 961, and that was for an outside light, and I don't know if that's been resolved or not. And the other one was 858 Charlemagne, who was supposed to go to the ARB because he was removing bushes so that it wasn't a hedge or a fence anymore. So I need to just get updates on each one of those to see if they are still. Has 858 Charlemagne come to ARB, removed anything? Are we aware of anything? Okay.
he has removed, but I did not take a picture of it. He's got like 2 and then a large space and then 2.
Okay, so that takes away that violation.
Yeah.
If everybody's in agreement with it, yeah.
Yeah, as long as they're not set up next to each other and then it wouldn't be a hedge anymore, correct?
Right.
Of course, the 2 that are in blue are placeholders. Those are just for our records so that when these 2 units, if they sell, those buyers can be notified that they're going to have Blue Stream installed if they want it. The two on the bottom are for trash cans outside. I have sent notices. I have sent emails. I have had no response. So if we were going to find, they would be the two I would recommend finding.
I have a question. You didn't get anything from Jay Baldwin? I thought his sister said that he sent a letter.
I don't have anything. I'll
Okay.
double check it,
And
but they're still out there.
they're still out there? Okay.
Yeah, they were out there
I
when I
haven't-
drove by.
Yeah, I
Those two,
didn't look.
these two, I drove the property last Thursday and those two were still remaining.
Okay.
Okay?
So it seems like I could be looking at this wrong with that there's 4 with trash cans.
There are, but if you look, the top ones have, the two above it have until the 5th to resolve it.
Okay,
You have to look at the dates they were sent.
yeah, sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So that's what I'm looking at this point.
Okay,
So
do we have a motion? So where are we at? What are we doing for motion?
I know that the last finding committee meeting, there was somebody brought to finding committee for a trash can, and I know they were objectionable to that. The committee did not like that. So I don't know. Do you want me to send them to finding? You want me to continue to try and reach out to these people and resolve this matter?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean by that. They weren't
They
happy.
thought that sending them for $1,000 fine for a trash can was a little over the top.
Well,
If
but
I'm
the problem
correct.
is we have one level of fine amount.
I get it.
We have an entire process.
I-
They've been notified, these people have been notified several times. It's in our rules and regulations and our governing documents. You can't keep the trash and the garbage cans out visible to your neighbors or to the street. I'm not getting what's going on with the finding committee then.
Well, then I need a motion to send 541 and 620 Charlemagne both to the fines committee for their trash cans being left inside of the street, in view from the street.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
That was Alan or
That was
Dawn?
That was
Done.
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 Do I have
I
a
would
second?
agree,
Any-
I would agree that if it's a requirement, to stop making exceptions is a slippery slope.
It is. I'm really concerned about how the finding committee has addressed this.
We'll see how
because
this one
it-
goes.
They don't get to determine whether the fine is excessive or not. They only get to determine whether the violation still exists. And it is a fine or it isn't a fine. The amount is not within their discretion. So
That's
I'm confused. And
That's correct.
certainly we may need to have a meeting. The board may need to have a meeting with the finding committee because this is not, an appropriate action. Is there any
So-
other discussion before we take a second of the motion?
Alan, you're muted.
You're
Alan,
muted, Alan.
There he
I
is.
just wanted to
Red
take
line
a second to review, to refresh my memory as to what our governing documents say, as to whether it's discretionary or mandatory that each day be $150 fine.
It's $100 fine a day.
Is it mandatory that it be every day?
Yes. It's every day until unless such time it's resolved or it reaches $1,000, at which time it caps.
So there's no discretion.
There's no
Regardless.
discretion. No. Our things are $1,000. That's what it is. A maximum of $100 a day for a maximum of $1,000. By the time it reaches the finding committee, they've exceeded the 10 days. If it hadn't been resolved, they have exceeded the 10 days that hit the $1,000 maximum. And this is not new at all. It's been around since I've been on the board anyway.
I believe, if you don't mind me
Not at
saying
all.
something. I believe at the last finding committee that they found the barrels were not outside. They were in the garage or the shed. That's
they're
why there
ins-
wasn't a fine.
If they're inside,
When they drove around before the meeting, I believe they were in the garage or the shed.
I don't know how to respond to that. Joni, were they out, when you drove around, were they outside or were they inside?
When I drove around, they were outside. Now, when the committee typically before the meeting will go and drive around to check on what they're about to review. And perhaps the owner, once they got the notice that they were going to be fined, moved them inside. And at that point, maybe that's why they chose not to fine them.
No,
So as we speak, we really don't know whether they're inside or outside.
No, I can tell you right now, as of Thursday, they were outside because I drove by myself. Now, my point is what could happen is, no, they weren't out front. They were sitting on their carport. No, if they're out front on trash day, I don't write them up. I need to be driving by and I am in my car looking at the house. If they're in the driveway, I know it's trash day. If they are sitting in the carport against the front door somewhere where I can visually see from the street, that's a violation.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
So they were there on Thursday. They were not in the front of the driveway. They were back by the house. So typically sometimes what will happen is they will ignore the first letters. They won't respond. But when they get the certified letter that they have to sign for, then my phone starts to ring. Now, your solution to this is to possibly send them a certified letter with the violation, but that's going to get pricey. So I send them emails, letters for the initial violation. And then when we go to fining, that's when they get a certified letter. So maybe that's when they're starting to fix it, which causes a hiccup as far as the fine going through.
Well, it sounds more to me, from what Tricia is saying, is that on the day that the fining committee is scheduled, they're pulling them inside. And the fining committee rides around and sees that they're not outside, they're in their garage or in their shed. And so they say, no fine, and then the people, because is it the same people?
No, these are different people.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
No, these are different people. I know.
I'm going to ask for a second on the motion to send these violations to the fining committee, and then we'll
Okay.
go from there.
Okay.
Can I have a second? No second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right,
Aye. All those opposed? We have 3 opposed. 4 ayes. Motion carries. So Frank, Joni, in your minutes, Frank, Alan, and Tricia are opposed to
have it.
these going to the fining committee.
Yep, I have it. Okay,
Okay,
so
next.
is going to be the delinquency report I just sent everybody. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it or not. I usually, as you know, I usually wait until the day of so that I have an accurate,
Looks wonderful.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
The total of delinquencies for this date is $4,194 and a penny.
Mhm.
And 285638 of that is one home. So you have 4 people who owe 1/4. You have 3 people who owe $25 or less. And you have several people who have under $2 balances, which are under $5 balances, which are interest. So
I think
yeah.
that's terrific. I
that's
think it's working. It's working.
It's the best I've ever seen.
prettiest
Yeah.
delinquency report we've seen in 2 years. It's great.
I think it's more than 2 years. I don't think I've ever seen one, and I've been on the board for almost 4. So
Yeah. Yeah. When I pulled that up, I was like, wow, I'm very excited.
very good, very good.
But then again, I'm easy. Okay. Now I have more good news.
Hey,
I shared this. We had a budget committee meeting yesterday. And as you know, part of planning the budget is your upcoming expenses. As you also know, we had an issue with Tower Hill who decided to non-renew the association. So we had to go out. We went out to statewide condominium insurers. Dave and Carla Siporek, and I asked her to please get me some preliminary numbers for coverage because we have a budget to plan. For the budget committee, I told them we left this number blank for a few weeks because I was like, it could come in the same, it could come in at $50,000. They're having trouble finding coverage. I don't know what's going to happen. So last year, your current term, everything now is going up about 20 or 25%. And like I said, I was expecting this number. I was expecting it could be anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000. It came in same coverage, not same coverage, different companies, but equivalent coverage of $37,217, which I thought was a pretty good price. So that is going, now that does not include your flood insurance. Your flood is separate. It's $500-600 for each building. So yeah, what I was expecting could have been up to $50,000 came in at 37 and change.
That's good.
That is good. They did good.
Now,
Yep.
let me ask you a question, Leah and Alan. I don't know why I think it was one of you. Didn't one of you already sign an AOR, an agent of record letter for statewide? I'm going to go
I
by
didn't.
your blank looks that you did not. I have
Not
an
me.
agent.
No,
I have an agent of record letter that I need somebody, a board member to sign. So I'm going to have either Tricia or Frank sign it while we're here.
sure.
So that we can send it over to them and they can get everything taken care of. And we have us some insurance for the renewal in November.
Yeah, that actually, they did well by finding a company that provided that because I just got ours for our house down there and it went up $1,000.
Yeah.
From last year.
Well, to be honest, she said that she has searched every carrier, would only find one that would quote. Everybody else declined quoting.
Mm.
So
Tony?
when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, how much is it going to be? Yes,
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, Joni, what kind of pool insurance? Is there pool insurance in on that also?
Well, it covers your pool.
Okay, well, we didn't get any kind of coverage with towers, so I mean, they wiped their hands on it. And that
Now,
kind of
wait a
stuff.
minute. Whoa, whoa,
The
whoa,
damage-
whoa.
Different,
Coverage for what? For your pool? For the,
Well,
this?
for the damage that was occurred.
Well, because it was caused by the contractor.
Because it was caused by the contractor.
Okay,
And that means the contractor's insurance takes precedence.
Yeah, that doesn't
Okay.
surprise me at all that it wouldn't have covered it. Now,
okay,
if the hurricane had come through and somehow blown your pool up,
right.
then your
right.
insurance
Okay,
would have covered it, but this was
Okay.
caused by the contractor.
okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was looking at it too. And it seems like it doesn't cover anything to do with like vandalism. Does that sound right? I thought I looked through the policy and if there was, if somebody came through with a semi and cleaned off our portico here, who would pay? And if they didn't have insurance, then we'd be out of pocket.
That
I was
is-
looking at those kind of things.
That is something I would suggest we schedule a Zoom meeting or a face-to-face meeting with the
Yeah.
agent and write down all your questions and let's get them answered.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And he will be willing to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
because we've got a substantial investment here now
Mhm.
and vandalism could be an issue or some intentional damage, of some other means. And
A reminder, it is also 2021. Your last appraisal was 2018, which means you need a new appraisal now according to Florida statute.
And what's that involve, Joni?
We call Townsend appraisers and they come in. I believe Barb told me that we had a quote, but I will contact Townsend, let them know to get me a quote. Basically, it's going to be a contract. They'll let us know how much it's going to cost. And I'll let everybody know, but we need to get it signed and get it done because one of the parts it's going to be is we need a current appraisal.
So one of the things that we might want to, I don't know if we can do it today because it wasn't on the agenda as far as taking a vote to have the appraisal. Okay, so that might have to be in a special board, but we've probably got that covered too, so.
Did
that's
maybe I missed that, but what's the deductible on that policy?
They haven't shown me the policy yet, Greg. They're just
Okay,
getting me a
well,
quote. But what I did as
Yeah.
part of this, as part of getting them information was I sent them all of your current policies and told them I wanted to quote like to like.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when we put this on an agenda to vote on, it's going to be an insurance property appraisal?
Yes.
Okay,
And I will email Townsend today. I will get the quote for you and then I'll send it over to you.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Anybody have any comments before we move on?
Well done. Thank you, Joni.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joni.
You're welcome.
Okay, committee reports. ARB, Bob Bro.
For those at home, Bob has his own cheering section.
No, press, no, the top.
If it's green, it's good.
We have green.
We can hear you.
Well, that's unfortunate. The ARB report, we have 9 at our meeting. The first 2 requests deal with the same residents. It's 8 Chateau Way. The first one is all interior renovations, drywall, flooring, electrical, some tile. Even though it's not in the requirements for an ARB request for this, we recommend approval anyhow. One of these, this is dependent on the second one. They're both intertwined. The second one is he's going to remove windows and bedrooms, install new egress, install a new door, move a window. It's quite extensive, and he's got very extensive drawings on this. The Collier County Building Department has been there. I've been in the house. I've seen what he's about to do, and it's going to look good. He's got all the approvals from Collier on hand, so we recommend approval on both of those. 125 Belle Isle Circle, paint the house online gray, it's called. We recommend approval. 153 Versailles Circle, rebuild a lanai with cement blocks and wood framing, new egress windows, impact rated. Paint new stucco to match the existing house color, which is Churchill Hotel. We recommend approval. 5 Chateau Way, install new roofing on the main house and roll roofing on the shed, and complete exterior paint white. We recommend approval. 120 Fleur de Lis, install a trash enclosure 12 feet long, 4 feet wide, 5 feet high. We recommend approval. 109 Brittany Court, repaint the driveway sand color. The ARB recommends approval. 116 Champagne Court, replace existing side patio walkway on the side of the house with new pavers. We recommend approval. 152 Marseille Drive, add pavers, 20-inch pavers to both sides of the driveway. We recommend approval. And we have actually 150, that was on the papers that I sent you. Since then, 152 Versailles Circle has a resubmission of a request dated 2/10/20 for replacement of screening in Lanai and a pool cage style screening with new concrete walkway. This was approved by the ARB and the board on February 25th, 2020. So they're asking for a resubmission because the work never got done due to COVID or climate change, whatever, but it never got done. So we're looking for.
So the year expired. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
just looking for new dates on that.
sure.
And
Um,
also, yes,
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
and also just because it's in it just now, 147 Estelle Drive, they want plantings and mulch. And we recommend approval on that. That's it.
So the one question I have, Bob, is on the house that was removing the hedges, so that the planting, so that it didn't form a living fence or hedges anymore.
Last month. Last month, yes.
858.
Right, but because the ARB didn't approve that originally, are you now approving it? Is that going to be part of this vote today?
No, last month we sent it back and said that it was not recommended at that point in time. We didn't
Right,
recommend
but my
approval.
understanding was they removed them. So that
Right.
there's a big space between them now.
But they have to reapply?
Is that what they have to do? They have to reapply?
I would think
doubt it.
so.
I don't think so.
I would
Okay,
think
could you let
think-
them know that?
Well, I think this is more of a violation type of thing that they corrected it. I don't see it as being,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it went into violations, Leah.
yeah, I know, but wasn't it
So,
kind of both? It did, I don't
Well,
know. It is a little confusing,
Well,
yeah.
the ARB did not approve it last month, so we agreed with them last month.
Right, right.
So
So, but-
when it come back to us, if he corrected the problem and it wasn't a hedge anymore?
right.
so should have went to violation?
It did go to violation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but should it
Yeah.
have gone to violation, considering he was going to make the change?
So it did go to violation. He did get a notice. He did make the change. So now it's not a violation anymore. I just want to make sure that the ARB thing is closed out correctly so that it doesn't show a disapproval. It's a little confusing. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters, and I think he should reapply for another ARB and keep it all legal spiegel that way.
Well, you don't,
That's kind of what I was thinking, I guess.
you don't need an application for a removal of trees.
Not removal of
So-
trees, but for the plantings that he put in.
Well, yeah, and he's removing them, so.
Well, he's not removing all of them. He just removed he just removed them in between so that there's a big space and it doesn't create a fence, a living fence or a hedge.
Well, what if we drive by there and see this as being corrected and we say, put it to bed, it's done?
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
that's kind
Sounds good to me.
of what I was thinking, sure.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
And if he's done that, since it was a violation that is resolved, I'm not sure that it necessarily has to come back to the board. Well, if you do that, I don't think it necessarily has to come back to the board for a vote. I think that
Right.
you're just able to close it out with an
Right.
okay. All
Yeah,
right?
they can sign off on the bottom of the form
Yeah.
that they agree with what he did.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
You sign
Thanks.
it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse everybody. I'm a little confused myself on it, but yeah.
join the club.
Can
that's
can
it.
I
Okay,
just
so-
ask, can I ask
Sure.
one question? On the, on 152 Marseille, the 20-inch pavers, are they just doing one paver? The 20 inches on either side of the
Yes,
driveway?
I think it's just when you get out of the car, you're not stepping on
Just
the
one,
grass.
okay.
Both sides.
So can I have a motion to approve the ARB's recommendations as
I
presented?
make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second?
Frank seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, any update from the Budget Committee?
Well,
Fine.
just briefly, I can tell you that we held 2 meetings in October. They were very productive. The most recent one was yesterday. We've just about finalized our discussions on our proposal for the reserves for next fiscal year, being 22-23. We kind of simplified our discussions there because we do plan to have a reserve study done next year. And we know that we're going to have to make a number of modifications in that reserve budget based on the recommendations that come forth. We have 3 or 4 items in our operating budget that need some further discussion. And we'll be hopefully finalizing our discussion on those at our next meeting on November 8th. And I think we'll be prepared to present a budget to the entire board at the November meeting. I want to thank Laurie Langdon and Bill Cannon and Barbara Bowden and of course Joni for their contribution to the committee's work. It's moving along well.
Yeah, thank
Good
you, Don.
news. That's
Thank you,
great news. Thank you, Don.
Yep.
Okay, anything, Tricia, on the Communications Committee?
Well, we haven't had a meeting. Angela's gonna set one up in November for communication. We have done some updating on the website. So that, we still we gotta work on pictures, so on the website, because we have some from, I don't know, 1950 or something on there. So anyway, and Becker ballot, Joni and I have downloaded the database. So, and we found out how we can correct any, and add any, new, consent forms that come in. So we're just about ready, and I'd say we're still around 300, maybe a little bit more. I got a few today, so. People get in touch with me. I'll be at the coffee hour on November 6th with my papers. So come and see me if you didn't do one. Also, as soon as we can, we'll send it to, have Becker send out how to have people register. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do the registration, and I'll do a walkthrough so that I know how to do it step by step, because there may be a lot of people that, would like some help with it.
Sure.
So I'll do mine and register with him. And then we'll go from there. So I don't have a date actually yet when I'm going to send it out to Becker to get the registrations going. So I'll put it on Facebook when I do.
And I think you, Joni, and me should have a discussion about how we're going to proceed with this year's information on the member meeting, because if we decide, and Joni, we need to chat with you about this as well, but if we decide to do that through Becker ballot, they have a deadline, correct?
Yes,
Have we already
right.
exceeded the deadline? I don't know.
No, all we have done is given them our database. So we
Right,
have,
but the information that would have to go out about the member meeting and stuff, they had to receive by a certain day if we were going to use them to do it rather than have it mailed through RM.
right. And we need to have people register before, because what are they sending? They haven't sent anything out, if they don't.
No, I know,
register.
but
Yeah.
one of the things that I didn't understand, I guess, was if people don't register, do they send out hard copy as well, or do they
Yeah.
only do electronic?
If they do not register for Becker ballot, if they have the email consent form and they do not register for Becker ballot, they will be receiving a hard copy, because that means they do not want to participate in electronic voting.
Right, but would they receive it through Becker ballot, or does the hard copies have to come through RM?
Well, no, we would have permission with the consent form to send them the packet through the mail, right? I mean,
Yeah, if they don't opt in to receive it via email, we don't have a choice but to sell it.
we'll send it,
Send it
right?
that way. I think what Becker's going to need to know is when is the meeting being held, because that's going to determine how soon they need to
Right.
have it.
Yeah.
So I
Right,
think
right.
that's a
Yeah.
conversation we need to have with,
Right.
what's his name? Brett?
Brett Filio, he works for Shift Marketing, who is in partnership with Becker Ballot. So
Yeah,
he's
so,
very accommodating.
yeah, so in the next week, or I guess within the next week, that three of us
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
meet and talk about
Yeah.
our plan of action.
right. We really
And-
need to
and
jump on this.
We're going to need to have a conversation with Becker, because you, as an association, do it a little differently than everybody else does for money saving purpose. For money saving purposes, because you mail your first notice earlier than it needs to be mailed, because you add your budget to it.
Right,
So that's all something we're going to have to discuss with them as well, that this isn't just going to be, typically it would be your agenda and your budget, but now they're also adding this and this and this. And if they
Yeah.
need us to supply those documents, I don't have a problem with that, but I need to know when they need them by.
exactly. And we
Yeah.
also need to decide whether this year is the year that we start moving all of that to them, or do we do what we're not going to do for the registration and the voting for those who register and vote, but if we're going to continue right now with RM to do the other piece of it, that's part of what we need to meet the three of us need to meet and chat about.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, the sooner the better because, you
So
know.
all right, if we wait
have-
until next week, at least I'll be there then.
Yeah.
It's
that's fine.
probably easier to sit down that way and
Yeah.
and maybe we can get him on a conference call even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good. All right, awesome. Okay, where are we? Social Committee, CC.
With CC's steering committee.
And I'm not going to. The members of the social committee met last week to discuss future activities. The calendar for November includes bingo on the 1st and the 15th of the month, the Veterans Dance on the 11th with Hot Dam performing, movie and a meal on the 12th, beach night at Loudermilk on the 13th, Thanksgiving dinner on the 21st, and Sunday solos on the 28th. The newsletter will have all of the information concerning those activities. But I did want to mention two things about that. We currently have 45 attendees for this Saturday night's Halloween dance, which pays for the band. We're striving to keep the tables at 4 people per table, and we're also going to allow tickets to be purchased at the door. We anticipate we will be doing that for the November Veterans Dance as well. Thanksgiving dinner will be the same as it was last year, catered by Mel's Diner. Tickets will be available at the coffee hour as we did last year, and we will also provide takeaway meals for those who do not feel comfortable being in the clubhouse for dinner. We continue to strive to have activities which are fun yet safe for all of our residents. We are following rules set by our board of directors as to the proper guidelines for events. We would like to add to our list of activities, but we are unable to do so at this time because of the current physical limitations of our space. Once the pool and parking lot areas become available, we are ready for game days, karaoke, and pool parties. The social committee continues to work diligently to have events for all to enjoy. Any suggestions and/or help is always appreciated, and the committee members are always available to help with anyone who would like to take on an event. You can contact any one of us and we will help you for any type of event that you might have. We are open to all suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Cece. Very well. Thank the committee as well. And strategic planning, Frank, I believe is not meeting currently, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we move on from that. Board updates, legal updates, Alan. Anything?
Well, yes, with Joni's help and with help from Becker, we've cleaned up our violations and particularly the delinquencies. Last month, we made a big collection and knocked down our outstanding delinquencies. We have one repeat offender of a nuisance at 121 Marseille, which council has sent a letter to them, to their attorney, warning them again if this were to recur as a second violation, that further legal action may be taken up to and including a loss of rights to use of community facilities, as well as potential lawsuits and/or other actions at our discretion. Hopefully this will be taken seriously and we won't see a repeat of this rowdy party group over there at 121 Marseille. And we have another situation, 557 Charlemagne, which we're investigating and may and will result in citation for nuisance, may involve additional offenses. And it's a subject of delinquencies as well. I don't know what to say, except that I had spoken to a relative of the person involved, indicating a concern for their well-being as to whether they were capable of taking care of themselves and their business. Unfortunately, I think the family member is not willing to step up to take care of this again. It's been done before. I don't know where we're going to go, but I've reached out to them as best we can. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully it'll get cleaned up, but it looks like it's in a bad situation there. That's about all on the delinquencies and violations that involve legal concerns. With respect to drainage, I reported last month, and I repeat that the non-compliance was cleared up by the county and the South Florida Water Management District for the drainage issues that occurred and were cited previously on the golf course. We have two outstanding sort of areas again that are still in need of repair, one on Marseille, which the head of road maintenance has informed us is such a large project that it's been bumped up to capital project group. I have an outstanding request for an update from him, which I have not received a reply to yet. We also have an area where an outflow drainage pipe is malfunctioned at 918 Charlemagne, and that I'm still waiting for feedback from the owner on. We and our council, Katie Berkey, are staying close to the activities at the South Florida Water Management District as to determination of who will be the permit holder for the drainage system, which covers all 5 communities, including ourselves, the golf course, and the 3 other condominium associations in this region. We expect that that will be resolved in the next month. That's the feedback we're getting. Government moves slowly sometimes. There's a backlog apparently at the state level. And that's all I have to report on drainage at this point.
Okay, anything on, I don't think there is, but anything on the celebrity insurance?
Well,
issue?
we await, per our council, we're awaiting the demolition so that both our engineer and the engineer or observer from the insurance company for celebrity will be able to have the opportunity to see as the demolition occurs, whether there are other damages to the pool and to the plumbing, et cetera, which are not visible from the surface. And as soon as we get the word that we're ready to go ahead with demolition, we'll give them a heads up. We hope to do that so they have a week ahead time to do that, plan their schedule. Since the insurance representative is on the East Coast, they need to schedule ahead of time.
Are we obligated? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we're getting close, and that's pending Frank's update.
Are we obligated to any amount of days notice?
Well, there was a communication from our attorney to their attorney for the insurance company that we would give them a week's notice.
Really? I thought it was 3 days.
Is
Okay.
it our attorney's conversation with their attorney an obligation? I think reasonable notice is probably,
A week is quick. A week is fast. It is.
I know it is. And I know that we're also not obligated to accommodate their schedule. So we give them the amount of notice, when it's going to take place. They're either there or they're not. That's their issue, not ours.
That's correct.
But what I just don't want to have happen is any delay because of anybody observing or being able to get there to observe beyond what we're obligated to do.
As you know, Frank, and you and I are in close communication about
I do.
every day's activities at the county level. So we should know in advance
Okay.
before rock stars ready to come in.
Okay. Blue Stream issue update. Steve, do you have any specific issues that have come to you that you want to update on? Otherwise, I have an update.
No, I don't, although Frank and I did talk earlier about him trying to push some of the Blue Stream stuff back to me for as long as I can do it at any rate.
Okay,
But
so
no,
let
I-
me,
Go
and
ahead.
that's fine. I'm actually, one of the things that I want to announce is that right now I'm actually going to act as your backup. Frank's very much involved, especially right now where things seem to be finally coming to a head with the pool permits and so forth and the SIP approval. I'm going to act as your backup, so no problem there. But one of the things that I wanted to update everybody on is, well, a couple things. First, I want very much to thank Carolyn Evans for all the efforts that she's done in the last few days with respect to our Blue Stream issues. She's taken the lead with Blue Stream to facilitate a meeting with them at our clubhouse at RGE tomorrow. It's at 10 a.m. I strongly encourage all the residents still experiencing issues to attend the meeting. You'll have the opportunity to voice your concerns with a Blue Stream rep in person and to have those issues resolved, hopefully once and for all. In addition to that, I've been in contact with Blue Stream CEO Joe Canavan, which he's expressed his great apologies for our ongoing issues. He was under the impression that most of our issues had been resolved. I told him that he was misinformed. And I let him know that we're almost 2 years fully into this contract, and the fact that we're still having issues is just not acceptable, even if it's just a handful of residents. And so he is committed to connecting me with his VP of operations and one of the directors who's actually our contact, Melanie. It's her boss. They're going to be in touch with me later today over our concerns and to figure out a way to ensure a resolution of all of these issues. So again, I want to ensure every resident who's still having an issue with Blue Stream, be it pixelation or freezing of the picture or the voice cutting out or the fact that there are still exposed wires on the outside of your house, which, by the way, I have also indicated it is up to Blue Stream to go house to house to determine which of those homes still have those wires not covered. Whether it's any of those things, please, I urge you to attend the meeting tomorrow at the clubhouse at 10 a.m.
Could I add something?
Sure.
There's another, they just recently sent out an email to everybody. And our representative Melanie got back to me with an explanation for what the email was. And you need a secret decoder ring because it's all full of jargon, and so maybe they can discuss that tomorrow too. But they have something new that sounds like it could be a pretty good solution, but it's so full of jargon that you'd really have to be in the industry in order to understand what it said. And several people have asked me what it meant, and I've had to defer. So we'll find out as soon as we can, but it appears like they don't know what they were talking about in that.
Well, I've also heard from a few individuals that they've gotten in touch with Melanie also, who's supposed to be our our contact, and she's not gotten back to them. So that's also not acceptable. So it's also something I will be bringing up. And one of the other things I'm going to try, and I don't know how successful it will be or not, but given the fact that we've had the contract for 2 years, that we're still having these issues on an ongoing basis. When we, in December 1st of 2022, when we convert to internet only, I'm going to see if under the circumstances, those residents who opt to stay with Blue Stream as their TV supplier, give them some type of discounted rate as opposed to the retail rate. I think I'm going to push that as hard as I can, because I think that under the circumstances, it would be in their best interest to accommodate. We'll see what happens. I don't guarantee it, but I'll try. Okay, maintenance update, Greg.
Okay, just a couple of things here. We've had Classic come in and do a big massive spray of the whole area because of this invasive plants that we're getting, weeds and things like that in our mediums and around the clubhouse. And it's that little white flowered invasive thing. In conversation with Classic, they've said that it really has been, the lawns and that have really been abused. So that's why we decided to do this massive weed killer right now. And it also does a bug killer and that kind of stuff. So he's gone ahead and done the work. So I'd like to make a motion in a retro. The work's already done. I'd just like to get this passed if I could. The motion to accept Classic to do the work, $1,200 to do the weed work. So anyway,
Okay, so Greg is
like a
giving
motion.
motion to approve the $1,200 cost of the weed application by Classic. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Okay, we're also working on some stuff here. I've been working closely with Sheila and Tricia and a lot of this. I talk to Sheila at least 2 or 3 times a week. Window cleaning in the annex and the clubhouse. We're getting at a price from our cleaner to do that. We kind of thought we'd have a price by now, but we're still waiting on that. They're also going to buff the floors in the annex, the hallways, billiard room, clean the ceiling fans, which are in real need of cleaning, but our cleaning company can do that. I don't know whether I have to make a motion. I expect it's going to be less than $1,000. I would think it's probably going to be, well, I'm not sure what it is, but I don't think it'll be over $1,000. I don't know whether I have to put a motion on the floor for this or not, but I will put a motion to accept this work, and it has to get done. We have to, all the things going on, we still have to maintain our building and make sure everything's clean and windows and things like that. Anyway, I'll make a motion to bring the cleaning company in to do this work.
Okay, so what we have, however, is we don't have any cost associated with this at the moment, but one of the things that you want is, approval to go ahead and make sure that the work is going to be done, and that we will then, once we get the cost of it, hopefully before the work is done, but once we get the cost of it, we can vote to approve that
We'll
expense.
definitely have the cost of it, and it's going to be less than $1,000. I anticipate it'll probably be $400 and $500 somewhere in there. And the cleaning company have been really, Sheila's working really well, and Tricia with the cleaning company, they're a really good bunch. And
So are we talking, so if we're talking less than $1,000, is that the total for the window washing and the floor buffing and the fan cleaning and so forth? Is that all inclusive?
well,
No?
that
Yes?
I don't know. I'm looking at the window cleaning and getting the fans clean and that kind of stuff. Anyway, if you want, what we'll do is, I just thought I'd bring it up. I didn't have a price, and we can wait until we can find out what the cost is, and then we can decide if it's less than $1,000, then we don't have to make a motion.
Right.
And we'll just go ahead and get the work done. Yeah. But I just wanted to bring everybody's attention, really, that we had to get this work done.
Yeah.
And it's a necessity, it is, yes.
Yeah, I think that that's the best way to go. I put it in on the agenda in the event that you had gotten the cost in, the bids in time, and we could have voted on it, but I think that you're very
Yeah.
right. This is the best way to go. So we'll pend it for now. You're going to finish getting the bids and so forth. If it's under $1,000 or $1,000 or less, I can approve it and we'll go forward. If not, we'll have it, we'll approve it as we do, either retroactively or with a special board.
Yeah,
Everybody
but
okay
to
with
me-
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we want
good.
to make sure that the floors get buffed in the billiards room and the hallway and stuff like that. Things get
Yeah,
tidied
I
up.
mean, these are housekeeping things that need to be done periodically. It's been a long time, so it's
It
time
has
to
been,
have them
yes,
done.
it has been a while. Anyway, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Frank, you're up for what you can give us briefly on the pool status, the SIP,
Okay,
the
I need
survey
to,
that we needed to do and so forth.
I'm gonna need to share my screen, so
Sure.
Mike gave-
our wonderful technical crew needs to,
Your volume's a little low there, Frank. I can barely hear you.
Mike. Sarah. Oh, it's okay. Never mind. He's letting you share.
okay. Why isn't this bigger? Here you go. Okay, so just to recap, as of June 11th, we had our complete pool package as far as, getting the pool permit. As of June 11th, it was all done except for one paragraph.
Mike.
No screen.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
Am I in the way? Is it my fault? I can
Just a
step
second.
outside if y'all want me.
No way.
Excuse me 1 minute.
All right, let me check Zoom again. It says you are sharing screen.
Sorry.
Okay, guys, I don't know what else we can do on it. No.
Well, if you can't put up your screen, perhaps you can just,
We'll
talk it through.
work it out.
Yeah.
Just a second. Did you have it on screen view for all, guys?
It just
Okay.
says you're sharing your screen.
I'm stopping my share
Okay.
and I'm going to start again. Okay, it's working this time.
Yeah, it's gone.
Screen shared ended unexpectedly. No kidding.
Here it is.
There, okay. All right, so anyway, we had in the planning review, they said, because we made the pool bigger, because we had a bathing, our current pool has a bathing load of 38. The new rules for swimming pools take into account the size of the area. It means we had to make a pool with a bathing load of 98. So that constituted a larger pool. The larger pool triggered this thing called a site improvement plan. So it made things 100 times more complex because a site improvement plan is all about not the pool, it's about everything else. So we hired Davidson Engineering on August 2nd, and we had a formal contract with them. And on the 9th on the 13th of September, Davidson Engineering submitted the site improvement plan. And after it was, they had corrections for us, which means they didn't like the way we did it. So they wanted us to do it a different way. and a more expensive way. So the final plan came back just the other day and was submitted. And as of this morning, about 10 o'clock, our site improvement plan has been accepted. So yay, yeah, okay. So some of the things this involves is we have, this is our grass parking lot. We have to put a driving lane in there, and we have to put curbs around it and several things. We have to completely restripe our parking lot. We'll have to seal coat it in order to do that. There's all kinds of handicap access. There are sidewalks, which initially we're going to have to go across the whole place. Anyway, I'll get to that. And so there's sidewalks to put in, interior sidewalks to put in. There's a lot. And so what the pre-site improvement plan meeting told us to do was to put a sidewalk along the entire roadway of Charlemagne Boulevard, even though it connected to nothing. That would have cost $43,350. And what Davidson Engineering was able to do is they were able to separate the lots. And so it's still running around 13,009, but we think I think I've got a vendor that can beat that price. So we'll save quite a bit of money there. Another specific case that, kind of one of those drive you nuts cases is that in order to have enough parking to fulfill the site requirements, they had to use the grass parking lot. But then the county has a rule that can be interpreted a lot of different ways, but they said the drive lane must be paved. And we considered this as the drive lane. That's the roadway going to the asphalt lot. No, they said that wasn't correct. They wanted this drive lane. And so Davidson came up with a really novel plan, and basically it saved around $19,000, maybe actually a lot more than that. It saved $40,000. It saved $40,000 by just doing a limited number, just enough parking spaces to fulfill the legal requirements, and that's 88. And then put in that in the curbs, and they've got concrete curves that they have to do. So the thing is that this hasn't been cut and dried. It's been a negotiation with the county, and just broke through yesterday on the very last thing. So some of the corrections are that they originally, I don't know if you saw the plan originally, had a line of trees going on the back of the property back here, and it type D buffer, which means 2 rows of hedges and trees and all this stuff. They even had us going on every point that jutted into the lake. They had us putting trees there and everything. Thankfully, we had 2 ways we were going to combat it, and the first way worked. So they have the corrected version was we didn't have to put any on the backside of the lake, and we had to move the trees over. And it was only because the county was fighting with itself on the drainage easement. So we actually ended up the winner because we could put in fewer trees, but they had us increase the buffer in front of the building here. Believe it or not, this is really hard to believe. What 40 some years people have been driving down that road, they were not supposed to be able to see this building. So, I know some people have short memories, but the thing is that if you drove past here yesterday and now you have trees past here, I think you're going to know the building was here before. But anyway, the long and short of it is that they want us to a type D buffer in front of this building and on both sides and the whole horseshoe. We're talking about 2 rows of hedges, trees. It's just amazing what they want. We're trying to get this down to kind of a science. The stakes you see up are so we can put the trees where they've asked them to be. If we put them more than 3 feet off the line, they will make us pick the tree back up and replant it. So it's very precise how they want all this stuff done. And so it's yeah, it's kind of maddening. And so anyway, all the reviews are in at this point. I thought this might be interesting. This is the process we went through. This was the pool process right here. And so we were going down here and we had done all these steps. All these are different people that review it. And this was the one place that got us kicked out of the pool review process and into the site improvement plan process. So it kicked us over to here. And then we had 2 times the amount of reviewers to go through. And we've worked through all of these. The little red lines here indicate that it was kicked out. They wanted a quote correction unquote. And even to the point of requiring a recycling bin, which Sheila handled for us. So we're in that really helped out a lot. Before they even rejected us, Sheila had it handled. So so we've got the landscape reviewer that was a big deal. And the last correction, like I say, it was removed, and we're out of this process now. We're out of here and we're getting ready to go back into this process. So the person that reviewed the process that kicked us into the site improvement plan process is now getting this back with a site improvement plan. And that, and then that site improvement plan will move us to the next level. There's a slight difference between the drawings because we had to nail some things down regarding the pool was concerned. And the 2 plans didn't jive, and we've got that covered too. So this should go pretty easily, but you know, that I thought that on June 6th too. So, but this has been a long drawn out process, and you know, we all had to bear the brunt of how slow this happened. Sometimes people took this to mean that I've been criticizing the county. No, I criticize the bureaucracy. I mean, this is just, if you wanted to put a gas station up here, you'd probably have to go through all the same things. And that's not exactly, I mean, we're just a small community. Why are they doing it? So what are we doing right now? Well, Mr. Baker has been doing a lion's share of finding contractors, and I've been meeting with them, and we've got a number of contractors already lined up to do the site improvement plan, and we can start planting things here real soon as part of the program. Leah has gotten Jamie Cook involved, and this is really starting to speed up the process. And it's been kind of a, you know, all hands on deck kind of thing. The property lines are the orange flags. Like I say, those are just the property lines. You can't plant on the property line. You have to do an offset from it. So where they say we've got certain things planted, it we'll find out. I'll be doing a lot of the marking of where the plants go. And then the idea is to do the pool project and site improvement plan at the same time. I know that sounds pretty hectic, but it'd be kind of nice to have a pool. I don't know about you, but I kind of like to have one. So the faster we can get this done, the faster we can get into the pool. Now, if actually Leah had got some concessions that if we could get almost all the way to the end with just a couple loose ends to tie up, and we've shown a really good faith effort, and the pool is done, they could, at their discretion, allow us to a temporary use permit of the pool. So if we just had to paint the parking lot or put the blacktop on, or, one sidewalk or something like that, they might let us go ahead and use the pool. So, that's, and then after everything's completely done, the very last thing we do in this project is to paint the lines, because we don't want trucks running over top of it. One of my major concerns is this is vacation place and this is retirement place. We ought to be able to still have activities and stuff. So I want to try to regulate the traffic so that all the work trucks get out to that asphalt parking lot to the south of the building and stay out of our parking places. I don't want some 20-year-old that's got two good hips and everything else parking right next to the building, and someone that needs a little bit of help having to hoof it from, who knows where, just because somebody did that. So we're going to try to keep those guys organized and keep them out of your hair. But there are going to be some glitches, and we'll just try to ride through them. It'll be a short time because most of the jobs that the contractors are doing, like concrete, et cetera, are just a couple day jobs. They're not very long. And so those kind of things will be like that. The landscaping will take forever. And because they got to dig hundreds of little tiny holes all over the place and planting all these things, and irrigation has to go in at the same time. So that's what this is. That's what this is about. I think we want to complete the project as soon as possible and try not to drive everybody crazy while this is going on. And so basically that's what's going on. We're like I say, this is brand new information that the SIP is complete, which once we have the official paperwork from it, we can immediately upload it to the county and in the pool permit part, and with a letter, and I don't know whether anyway, we'll have to give them anything they want to get the pool permit started again. And but it's not from the beginning, the pool permit would start at this process. It'd have to go through the final review, and that'll be it. So hopefully that's a very short thing. We actually have a meeting, Lee and I have a meeting tomorrow with Jamie Cook on how we can maybe keep this movement going quickly. And I really like to see us ripping this old pool out of here pretty quick. So, but that's pretty much what we have right now, Leah. I do have a surveying invoice. How do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, I just before you make the motions, just a couple of qualifiers. As Frank said, we do have a meeting, a telephone conference call with Jamie Cook tomorrow. She or he, I'm actually not sure whether this is a male or female, but because the name is could be either. But in any case, I'll know tomorrow. The indication was that the SIP was approved with a qualifier that had to do with the parking space. So that's what the discussion is about. But I'm sure we can resolve that. I want everybody to understand that my being able to be in touch with Jamie Cook, with Mike Osorio, who's the Director of Code Enforcement. The push for this not to even take longer has actually been the result of Rick LaCastro. So anybody who thinks that he may not have helped us, that's not true. He's been very instrumental, especially in the last several weeks, with making sure that these obstacles get moved along and don't take even longer than they otherwise would have. The reviewer at the county that is doing the landscape piece is a bit of a bulldog, little bit of a God complex maybe. And every time we came up with a resolution to what they wanted, they came up with another one. So that's something that Rick and Mike and Jamie are helping us work through. So I just want everybody to understand that. And then once it all goes back to the other side of the county for that review, there's a what do you call that meeting again? Pre-something meeting.
Pre-SIP.
No, it was some kind of a pre-review meeting that you had it with Rockstar in the county before that phone
Yeah,
call that you had.
That was the pre-SIP.
Yeah, but there was another name for it, but yeah, whatever it is, that takes place again. So hopefully, one of the things I've asked of Rick LaCastro and Mike Osorio is that that's the only thing that we have to deal with, and that it doesn't have to go through the entire review all over again. So we're very hopeful that we're coming to the end of all of this right now. So one of the things that I know you had to do was, in order for us to make sure that the plantings are put exactly where they need to, so that it doesn't cost us extra money and having to dig something up that was planted in the wrong place, you had to have Coastal Engineering come in and do a survey. So you have a motion that associates to that cost.
Yes. We don't have the final number, but it will not be above $2,000. And it's time and materials. So, they're charging us for their time. They've been extremely fair with us up to now. And actually along the way, we actually got a $1,000 discount at one point,
Yeah.
which was pretty good. So yes, I'd like to move that that the board authorize up to $2,000 for Coastal Engineering invoice to provide property line staking for all the construction.
I second that.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is passed. And then now you have also a second motion, Frank, that has to do with the SIP sidewalk application for the county, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Don't we have to have, isn't there a fee to approve for the permit application for the SIP sidewalk requirements?
Yeah. Oh, you're
Yeah.
right.
Another fee to the county, yes.
Right, there was 1,300.
1350.
1350.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so do you want me to make that motion?
Yes, please.
Yes, I paid it out of pocket. It was, there was a fee for 1350 that we, to the county to get the right of way to be able to have a permit to construct the sidewalks on the county sidewalks
That they're requiring us to do.
that they're requiring us to do. Yes. So the permit fee was $13.50. This almost sounds like a comedy if it wasn't so darn
Yeah.
crazy important. But the fee is $13.50 for it. And I paid it out of pocket to keep this moving along.
And because it had to be done via online,
Had
via
to be
a credit
done
card, and we
online,
don't
yeah.
have an RGE credit card that goes to that amount. So Frank very nicely did it on his own credit card. So can I have a second for that motion to approve that amount of $13.50 for that permit application?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes. And Joni, when Frank actually gets that invoice to submit to you all, could we see that he kind of gets paid as quickly as possible, reimbursement?
Sheila said she's already submitted, so I'll ask them to fast track it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I want to give an update to everybody on the board meeting dates for November and December. They were originally planned for different dates, but because of the holidays and so forth, the new board dates for November and December are November 30th and December, I believe it's 21st. That way it kind of avoids all the holiday time frame as much as possible. And they will be at 1:30. They are all on Tuesday as usual and at 1:30.
And it's
So that's that. And excuse
It's
me?
posted on 901 and also the Facebook page. And I believe Walter has it on the website.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at the webpage yesterday and it had the old dates on it. So
Oh,
can you just check with him and make sure that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
changed?
he probably didn't change the,
Yeah, because it was a paper I sent him and he probably didn't change that, but we need to fix it somehow.
Okay, I think there's one on the bulletin board that we'll fix also.
Okay. All right, so old business, as far as I know, we don't have any to bring up. New business, so there's two things. I'm going to take the second one first, if nobody minds, and that is just to reiterate that on December 18th at 6:00 PM in the clubhouse, we're going to have a town hall meeting featuring Rick LaCastro, who will be
November.
No, November?
No,
did you say?
November. What did I say? December? What did I say? November 18th?
It's November.
November.
It's November. I
Yeah.
said that wrong, didn't I?
That's all right.
It's November 18th. Yes?
Yeah,
November.
Yes. So November 18th.
November 18th.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know what I said, but it was November 18th, 6 PM at the clubhouse. So we're inviting all of you to attend. We will be also having it on Zoom, I believe, and on YouTube
We'll have it on
for those that
YouTube,
don't
yeah.
want to attend in person. And he will be giving us an update on everything that's going on in our area of Naples. And he'll also be providing as much of, if there is any update on the status of
Yeah.
the golf course pre-application for development. I don't know that anything has taken place at all, but he's going to find out whatever it is that there is going on there and give us an update on that as well. So that's that. And okay, so then the next is a discussion on a process for approving SIP work invoices. So the reason that we're talking about this is because, again, once we get the permits and destruction can start and then rebuilding construction, that in itself is not an issue so much because that's through Rockstar. But the SIP part of this, all of this, is not through Rockstar, and we will be having various contractors come in to do that piece of the work. Most of it is probably going to be done by the landscaper that we already have and so forth, but there will be others that we will need to be contracting with and getting bids on. And in order to not delay the work getting done, because we have to schedule a board meeting, we have to announce it 48 hours in advance, we have to post it and all those things. We want to try to develop a process to speed that up and still meet the statute requirements. So one of the things that I had brought forward to you all in email was potentially to have a standing. Originally, I said 2 days a week. I'm thinking maybe 1 day a week, maybe enough right in the middle of the week, like Wednesdays at 10 a.m. in the morning to review and approve any invoices that come up for the SIP work so that we can, kind of fast track that. And then to post that, if everybody's in agreement, then I'll let you all discuss this once I get through the explanation, to post that as a standing meeting with a generic agenda, which is just going to be to discuss and vote on SIP bids from contractors. That way, we don't have to worry as much about a 48-hour posting because it will have posted it once for all of them. We'll do it, I'm guessing, through January. If we don't need the meetings, we'll cancel them as we go through. So I was wondering how you all felt about that, what your reaction to that is. Go.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to a date, as long as we can settle on a particular time each Wednesday or each Tuesday, each Thursday. That's fine with me. If you're talking about a Wednesday, just because I have a family obligation a few days at 10 in the morning, I would want it a little later if it were on a Wednesday.
What time would be good if it were on a Wednesday? And the only reason I suggested Wednesday is because it's dead in the middle of the week. And I figured that way there's not, rather than scheduling 2 a week, having 1 a week in the middle, that way there's not a big gap between when we could have gotten the bids and we can vote on them.
Yeah, a Wednesday for me, 11 a.m. would be better.
What time did you say, Dawn?
11.
Wednesdays at 11 a.m.
Yeah, all right with me.
Tricia,
Okay.
we good as far as you know with the clubhouse?
Yeah, there's, everything's okay. The only thing, it disrupts the office, when a meeting's going on, but yeah, 11 should be good.
We could do it,
Well, Dawn's got commitments, so.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't
I'm
have
not-
to- Doesn't have to be Wednesday. I just threw Wednesday. out
No,
of it.
Wednesday's a better day, I believe, than, we have a couple of dances planned and,
Yeah,
men's club ARB board, meeting on Tuesdays, I think Wednesday's the better day. I don't see
would
any-
12, would after 11 be better as far as not disrupting the office?
Fine with me.
Trish?
I'm sorry, what, Leah?
Would it be better if it were after 11, like at noon, so it didn't disrupt the office? Because the office closes
Oh,
at noon.
Sheila just said that should be all right. 'Cause,
Oh, okay.
That's her, hour left, so usually it quiets down a little bit.
does
Actually,
everybody-
everybody comes in at 1:15. So yeah, 11's good.
11's
This-
good. What does everybody else think?
This may not be necessary for too long because 2 of the bids are probably going to come in about Monday or Tuesday with the bulk of the work. And then after we have signed after we have contracts with them, then we can pay based on the contract. But
yeah.
but there'll be a couple more, and so it may just run 2 or 3 or 4 weeks before we're where we have a contract with everybody and we're just paying off the.
Well, what I'd like to do, Frank, is just to be safe so that it only has to get posted
Absolutely,
once.
no.
Is to do it maybe through December. We
Yeah.
don't necessarily, and we can always say, okay, we don't need them anymore. We're canceling them or whatever. But,
Yeah. That's good.
but I just think that that's wiser to do for
Oh,
now.
Oh, absolutely. You're exactly right. That's what I believe too. I just wanted to, allay people's feelings about. I
Yeah, I'm
wanted-
just trying to
just
figure
wanna-
out, I'm just
you
trying to
say-
figure out a process that meets our statutory requirements without us having to worry
Right.
each time about a 48-hour notice, because that's
Yeah,
going to interfere with the time, it's going to cause delays. So if we can post it this way as saying, okay, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. through November and December, there will be a special board meeting. This is the agenda for all of those meetings. Bang, now they have it. It's there. We've met the statutory requirements, and if we have to cancel, we can just cancel. If we don't need it. And then if anything else comes up in between there where we need a special board meeting, then I would have to post a revised agenda for it. Like if something else also had to be voted on out of sequence of a regular board meeting. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yep.
We all good with that? Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll get that wording ready and the agenda, that generic agenda ready and get it out so that it can be posted, Tricia and
Okay.
Sheila, and we'll give it to Walter and get going with that. And
I have
What
a
well,
question related
Okay,
to
Alan.
this. Just a quick question, Dawn. and Frank, given that the SIP requirements are part of the, although separate from our requirements of the pool project, are these expenses going to be accounted for as part of our loan with the bank?
Yeah, I think, Alan, the plan is going to be to establish within our budget a line for the site improvement plan expenditures. And then, more than likely, we're going to have to, and the board will finally make this decision, but the payment for those expenses will likely come from an increase in the loan, if that's what the board feels is the best way to approach it. As I've mentioned before, we have filed preliminary paperwork with First Florida Integrity to increase the amount of the loan if necessary. And, my best guess at this point in time would be that we're going to consolidate all of those expenses into one line item. And more than likely, we'll present this to the board. When we get a solid handle on what the total may be, we're going to take it from the loan by increasing the size of the loan. That's one possible plan of action. At this point, it appears to be the most logical and reasonable.
Perhaps the easiest for the community and members to manage.
Well, I think that the only other
Yeah.
way to go about that would be a special assessment. We all like to avoid special assessments.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a possibility. We had a audience member at the budget meeting make the point that, and Bill Cannon made the point that, we've got to be very transparent with the community relative to what these SIP costs will be. And we plan on doing that. And the best way to do it would be to document it within our budget with a separate line. Here's what the site improvement plan costs, folks. And it could be as much as $150,000 to $250,000.
Bite your tongue.
So I'm throwing figures out. I don't want anyone to panic, or I don't want anyone to take that as gospel, but that is a real guesstimation at this point in time.
But one of the things that we're going to be striving to do is to minimize those costs as much as possible. I know that both Greg and Frank do a lot of work on looking for, researching vendors that can do the work for us at the most reasonable rate possible and still meet the SIP requirements. So hopefully those numbers are extremely inflated.
And we'd be getting the 3 quotes on all these projects, correct? Because
Yeah.
Frank mentioned something about Classic Lawn and Chris doing a lot of the work, so.
Yeah, but we still,
Yeah,
it's
you have
separate
to-
work, so we
yeah.
still have to get the
Okay, I just.
quotes, and that's what these special board meetings are exactly
Yeah,
for.
right.
Any other questions about the process? We're all in agreement? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Because this doesn't have to be a motion or a vote, it's just a process and consensus,
Yep.
so. Okay.
Starting,
All right.
starting next Wednesday. Starting
Yeah,
next
wait.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
Starting next Wednesday, yes.
that's the 3rd.
Right, and
You
I will,
are right.
and I will have that posted hopefully tomorrow, so it will be posted well in advance. If not tomorrow, then
That's the-
certainly
That's the
Thursday.
day after you get back, so.
I know.
Are you all right with that?
Welcome
Okay.
back.
Welcome back, yes. Okay, all right, so as far as moving on, the next order of business is audience participation. If you,
Sorry.
whoever wants to step forward and give your name and state your question or
You're
comment.
coming, okay. Go. I think it's on, yeah.
Brett Nichols, 136 Bordeaux. Just had a comment to make on the windows when we wash those. Is that inside and out?
Yes,
Greg?
Does that make
Yes.
sense to do that before we're getting ready to construct a swimming pool?
yes.
Just, it does?
Um,
Okay,
if
because they're gonna
they're
get dirty.
They're pretty bad now. So I know they're gonna get dirty, but they're pretty bad now.
Okay. The other thing I was curious about is our increase in legal fees. What is that? What constitutes those increases?
Those increases have been due to two things. One was the interactions we had with the South Florida Water Management District on the drainage issues. The second piece, just as same magnitude of money, was in fact chasing some of these delinquencies and have incurred significant legal costs prosecuting those, and in fact recovered quite a bit of money in excess of well in excess of $10,000 over the last 2 months. And I think Dawn is working through some adjustments to the way those are shown on our financials so that it's better clarified what's due to legal expense associated with delinquencies versus other legal expenses.
Okay, so they're gonna break that on the financials. So it'll say, hey, it costs us $1,000 to collect 10,000 or something. I'm just
Well,
giving an example.
The point is, Brett, that we do recover the legal expenses that are associated with someone who's not paying their dues, and we have to take them into foreclosure or, put a lien on their home. They have to pay us back for those legal fees. So in a sense, it's a wash.
Okay, as long as we recover the money, of course, I understand.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's what I meant, yeah.
Thank you.
Barbara Bowden, 144 Fleur de Lis. I guess I'm taller. Which one? I did find the invoice that we received, or the contract we received from Townsend Appraisals last fall, that, as I recall, we decided to defer because we didn't really need one until before we renewed our insurance. So I gave that to Joni, and then that's just for her amazement and edification because the numbers may not be the same. But that might be one of the things that comes up at a special board meeting along the way.
Okay. Thank you. Good to see you, Bob.
George Dan's 813 Charlemagne Boulevard. Just a point of information. Frank has talked a lot about rules, regulations from the county commission with Broward County. And as all of you know, Broward County is divided into 5 commissioner districts. Rick Lukasco is our district representative for our district that covers our area. Those districts are divided based upon population to try to get an approximate number of people in each commissioner's district. Every 10 years after the census is taken, those districts have to be rewritten. Yesterday morning, a committee, an independent committee that the county appointed to look at those districts following this most recent census, issued 4 proposed maps for redistricting of the commissioners. One of those maps takes everything west of County Barn Road, including all of our area, and puts it in Commissioner Taylor's district in the city of Naples. We're concerned with that. The county has also scheduled several meetings, 5 meetings with each commissioner district to talk about that. The first one is November 1st at 6 p.m. at the county commission meeting to talk about District 1. I'm not sure exactly when Commissioner 4 is, but they haven't accepted any of those plans, but there's four maps that they submitted yesterday as proposals. And like I said, one of those takes us into the city of Naples for whatever it's worth.
Wow.
George, thank you for letting us know. And please, I encourage anybody who's in Naples and residents to go to that meeting.
Bill Cannon, 169 Fleur de Lis Lane. Let's go back to the beginning when we're talking about the finding committee. As a secretary of the finding committee, I sent a copy of the minutes of the last meeting to this board immediately after the meeting, which includes a pretty good description of the rationale for decision processes. I got the feeling from the discussion that nobody's read it. So I will continue to send it because I think it's important. The committee did discuss their uncomfortableness with $1,000 fine for trash cans, but has not taken any action. I don't know where the whole discussion went to after that, why it became an item on the board minutes and the rest of that, but that's okay. We are getting together to discuss a little bit more of our feelings and any thoughts we might have to communicate to the board. Second item is sidewalks. Now I wrote to the board several months ago about the sidewalk on Charlemagne. About one, it's maybe cheaper to have the county build it, though Frank thinks he can find somebody to build it cheaper, but first thing we have to do is pay the county $1,300 for a permit, so that's added to the price of any savings Frank may make on building it. But the other concern I have is that sidewalk's going into the remains of a culvert out there. So it's going to change the water flow every time it rains and send water from in front of us to our neighbors. And I pointed that out in the letter I sent to the board, and I said, I don't think we want to own that problem. I think we want Collier County to own that problem, because it's going to be an ongoing issue when you start having heavy rains and lots of extra water going over to the condos on the south of us and to the neighbors to the north. I'd just like to point it out again, I think it's the wrong way to go. I think we'll let the county build those damn sidewalks and let them own it. I wrote another note here, is how much will this cost? And we really don't know. And I got the impression, I'm on the budget committee, so we talked about it yesterday. There isn't real good feel for how much it's going to cost. I think it's very important that we continue to keep open communication, that the board, one of the discussions we had yesterday at the budget meeting was, is there any desire to have a special assessment? And the committee, was pretty solid on, special assessments don't seem to be the right way to go for this. We ought to pay for it on an ongoing basis over the next 5 or 10 years or whatever it's going to take to pay off the loan with the bank, whatever is a reasonable approach. But we do have a window of need here, because the budget has to be provided to the community by the beginning of December. And this has got to be a line item in the budget. Either that or we're going to put out a special addendum to the budget later. And I think it'd look a lot better if we could have it now. So getting an idea of our arms around how much we're going to spend on this on a yearly basis, at least for this coming year, is an important issue. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. All good comments.
One more.
Mike Sullivan, 157 Belle Isle. Just want to bring your attention. I get word this morning that we were invaded by some honeybees in the tennis court. Jim had mentioned it to me, and I heard from other people also that they took over the storage area where the pickleball equipment is held. I made a few phone calls. Sometimes they charge anywhere from $400 to $1,500 to do it. Luckily, we have a resident who's a bee guy, Ron Liu, and I got in touch with him, and I just found out a couple minutes ago. Had to go out and use the phone, and he has found a bee guy that will do it for nothing. So pickleball is on tomorrow.
All right.
And tennis. So
Great.
we should be all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Nice resolution.
Yeah, they took over the the cover of the storage container.
God, it never ends.
Nope.
Okay, anybody?
Oh, one
Okay,
more.
wait a minute.
Sorry, one more.
Okay,
So, it's me again, Bill Cannon, 169 Fleur de Lis.
all right, Bill.
One thing I forgot to talk about is, I don't know what the number is now. When the last time I looked, which was about a week and a half ago, there was almost 500 bushes being planted out here. Out of those 500, about half of them are something called sea grape. Sea grape is an interesting plant. It has a male and a female. Some of them are males, some of them are females. If you plant females and males together, you end up with one of the plants growing grapes. So we're going to have a quarter of a mile of hedging around here, or maybe it's a little bit less now that there's been some changes. with all the sea grape plants in there, with all these grapes. And that's going to be a great attractive to all the rodents in the area. And I think we're creating an attractive nuisance with rats and everything else between us and our neighbors to the north and our neighbors to the south and ourselves. I'm wondering if there's some way to get out of using sea grapes and use something that does not have food for rodents.
Yeah,
Thank
Bill, I think actually our landscaper actually brought that up. What, isn't that correct, Greg? And
He
he,
didn't.
Frank? Go ahead,
He
Frank.
didn't bring the grape thing up, but we're looking at alternatives. We are, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at alternative plants. They just have to be.
Number one, Collier County has got to be Florida friendly. That's
right.
And there are alternatives. Yes, the grapes have been discussed. They have been, yes.
It's not just Florida friendly either. They have to be native to Florida. Whatever it is that we plant has to be native to a native Florida plant, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But they are, well, it's, one Florida friendly is it doesn't take a lot of irrigation, and native to Florida means it was natural to Florida, right? Not brought in from the outside. But in any case, yeah, I believe that we are looking at alternatives to what they actually suggested, and that will be allowed. We just have to, clear it. Yeah. Is that correct, Frank?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. Clear it up.
No, this has been posted and everything else, and I've asked, for alternatives, and no one, even the landscaper, didn't have an alternative to it. If it's impossible to get sufficient plants, we might have a way to do an alternative, but the sea grapes are, that's what is scheduled. And I mean, this is an after fact ask. And people have known about sea grapes here for a while, hadn't said a word up to this point. And we did look for an alternative. I have some sea grapes at my house, must be the male. Okay. But it has never produced grapes. I think maybe if we get them, if we make sure they're sexed properly, maybe we're, and this not being a swingers place, we'll have maybe maybe make a parochial and make all the female sea grapes in one area and all the male sea grapes in another area. But I mean,
let's keep them separated.
The reality is cost comes into this too. And some of these plants are terribly expensive, and we had not found an acceptable alternative to it. So
Frank, I
that's
have a
where we're
question.
sitting.
Do they have a required size that we have to plant? In other words,
Yes.
They do. I knew it. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
everything
you
has
for
a required
correcting me.
size. Yeah, and the directions to the landscaper and to the directions to the landscaper and to the engineer have been conserve cost. We have to do that, and they've done that to the best of their ability. They followed the rules, but conserved the cost. In fact, there was even a little glitch between what the county wanted and what we did, and we wanted a conservative thing, and the county wanted us to go a little more, and it would have cost around $6,000 to do what the county wanted, and we won out eventually. But the thing is that we're doing what we can as far as cost concerned, and if it involves some sort of a parochial or maybe some kind of sex talks to the sea grape plants, we'll just have to try to live with it somehow.
Yeah.
The
Well,
sidewalk issue is we have the plans for it. The county has permitted it. This is a non-starter. So we're gonna do this as least expensive as we can. We can, this is a small community. We can't afford to do things the way the Hilton can do it. So we're gonna do the best we can.
I want everyone to understand that we're not just sitting back and conceding to everything that the county says. We're not doing that. We are fighting this. We are in every way we possibly can without it extending the timeframes inordinately. So there are just certain things they won't give on. There are other things that we've argued that they have given in on. Please don't think that we're just sitting back and saying, okay, to everything that they require. That's not the case at all. Director Rackbach, does anybody on the board have anything else to add today?
I just had one thing.
Sure. Trish.
I need help moving tables off of the dance floor after the meeting, please.
Oh, I was going to say, can it wait till the second, but I guess not.
No. No, Bonnie needs line dancing tomorrow, so.
Okay.
And we
all
need the
right.
dance on Saturday.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else have anything else to say? No. So I'm not going to even go one by one on all of you unless somebody raises their hand. I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, guys. See you soon.
Okay, bye-bye. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you guys.
Bye-bye.